Right now at 5, the KBI and Galena police team up to investigate a body found in Galena.
We got a chilly start for us today, but again, much calmer than what we were a day ago. We'll take a look at how warm it's going to get coming up.
And do you love going to the movies? Well, we have some good news for you then. It may be good for your mental health.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So I wish sometimes you could see the little ballet that takes place when I come over here, because there's a stool. I've told you, it's just something I've always done. I just prop my leg up. But if there's something here, there's this quick ballet that takes place.
Well, I mean, it's only been 2 years I've been asking for a shelf to put stuff on. And they're like, well, you got a stool. I'm like, well, no, I don't.
Not anymore, you don't. Maybe back in the day.
The stool is Chris's leg rest.
I don't know why I have to do it. It's just a comfy position for me. And today is going to be a very comfortable day for everybody. Right now, the MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline, we're looking good so far. Plenty of street lights. So very well lit out there. Taking a look at 7th and Rangeline, same situation, looking really good. Sitting at 45 in Joplin, feels like 41 with an east-northeast breeze at 8. We've got some pretty clear skies out there. Across the region, again, it's chilly. 35 in Iola, 39 Yates Center, 45 in Parsons, 42 Chautauqua, Miami, 44 Neosho, and 45 in Lamar this morning. As we go through the day, it's a quick warm-up. We will see the winds start to pick up. We're talking gusts 20, 25 miles an hour, but we're going to have plentiful sunshine, maybe a few passing clouds. Look at how quickly we warm up to 61 by 11 this morning. We're looking at highs mid to upper 60s, maybe even pushing close to 70, with again mostly clear skies, a few passing clouds, and some gusty winds to contend with. As we head into this evening, though, we're heading for an overnight low of 46, but it's a slow cool down. And I don't think anybody's complaining. It was nice yesterday. You could open the windows, let that fresh air in. I don't know about anybody else, but it's nice to air out the house when it gets warm, because, boy, it needs to. And in a windy day is good to do it, too, because it gets that air circulating. 62 by 6, 55 at 8, 53 by 10 o'clock. We're watching some changes, though, still later this week, and we'll go more in depth to that. We're 60 tomorrow, so a little bit cooler. Cooler Thursday, 54, and here's where the changes come in. We start with some thunderstorms Thursday, and then as we head into Friday, we're looking at some snow. And they're still looking at accumulating snow. It's still too early to give exact amounts on this possible snow, but as you can see, it's also going to be above freezing, and so we're looking all right. Even then, with that cold air, we start to warm up once again as we head back into the weekend and next week. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A Galena man learns his fate in a Cherokee County District Court. James Bilkey Jr. of Galena received more than a year imprisonment earlier this month. Now, the 15-month sentence came after Bilkey pled guilty to attempted aggravated battery, which stemmed from a January 2020 altercation. Bilkey is being held in the Cherokee County Jail pending transfer to the Kansas Department of Corrections. Firefighters battle a trailer house fire in Jasper County. Crews responded to reports of a trailer house fire just before 8:30 Monday night at West Mound Street near Carthage. Carthage Fire Department, Jasper County Sheriff's deputies, and Mercy Ambulance responded. Tri-Cities Fire and Oronogo Fire provided backup. When they arrived, first responders observed a trailer house completely destroyed by fire. There were no occupants. Carthage Fire says while they are investigating the cause of the fire, there is not much to search as the structure was consumed. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation and Galena Police currently investigate a body found in Galena, and details are few at this time. According to the Galena Police Chief, Billy Charles, officers were called about 3 p.m. for a body in a field near 11th and Wood Streets. That's near the tire monofill. The KOAM crew at the scene was told the KBI was in charge of the investigation, and we've reached out for more details, and we'll update you as we learn more. A very familiar looking orange Dodge Charger crashed on a highway in southern Missouri Sunday. The General Lee was among hundreds made for the hit TV show The Dukes of Hazzard. Both people in the car were evaluated and taken to the hospital. There's no word on their conditions or what caused the one vehicle accident. The local fire department says more than 300 General Lees were built for the TV show, which ran from 1979 to 1985. Only 17 reportedly survived. Well, MoDOT also announced the temporary closure of Route DD, or Waldo Road, to I-49 south at exit 91 south of Nevada. The on-ramp will close from noon to 2 p.m. today to allow contractors to repair the guardrail. There will be no signed detour, and drivers are urged to find alternate routes. You can go online to KOAMnewsnow.com for a look at road closings and traffic impacts. One Springfield veterans group says it will not be able to help the community as much as usual. The reason? It got what it's calling a surprise utility bill. The American Legion Post must fork over $6,000 for a dead or faulty natural gas meter. In December, around 500 utility customers in Springfield got a heads up they were about to get these bills. Customers still got the energy, but meters did not read correctly. The Post has been paying its bills but did not think anything of its low gas use, then learned the meters stopped reading correctly almost 2 years ago.
April of 2020 is when we were shut down for COVID. April 6th, that was the city stay-at-home order. We literally was shut down. I did notice a drop in our utilities from March to April of 2020. I went back and verified that. But we were closed, so I didn't think anything of it. And we were closed for a really long time.
According to the utilities policy for residential accounts, it can only bill up to 12 months for a dead meter. For commercial accounts like this American Legion Post, it's up to 5 years. Well, could going to the movies be good for your mental health? And that's the thought behind a series of midweek movie matinees offered at a historic theater in Springfield, Missouri. Joe Hickman is back with a look at the lineup.
At the Gilloy's Theater, it was an afternoon showing of the 1956 classic King and I that brought in mainly a senior citizen crowd who remembered when midday matinees were a big deal.
Just like old times.
We said, hey, that's just for us. It'll get us off the couch.
And that's exactly what these 21 movies showing every other week through November are designed to do.
Enjoy the show.
Get those age 60 and older out of the house and exercising their brains. As before each movie, there's a trivia quiz related to the year the movie was released.
What was the #1 song in 1956?
Heartbreak
Hotel. You got it.
Heartbreak Hotel by Elvis Presley, who, by the way, attended a movie at the Gilloy's in the early 50s. And just by these folks being here,
the opportunity for socialization and engagement on the trivia side is great for mental health and can reduce the onset of dementia by varying studies, some as low as 26%, some as high as half. Who knew that going to the movies could be good for your mental health?
While doing things for your physical health is vital too, as you get older, it's important not to isolate yourself away from the rest of the world.
Research has shown that isolation affects at least 40+% of seniors, and they compared the effects of loneliness to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It can lead to depression, anxiety, but it also increases the chance of Alzheimer's and dementia. The more active your mind remains, you're basically delaying that dementia and Alzheimer's.
So by getting out and doing something, even if it's not physical exercise, you're still helping yourself mentally.
I think it gives them a sense of purpose. They have something to look forward to.
And by the way, the midweek matinees are open to all ages.
Free matinee tickets are available to those ages 60 and over through the Greene County Senior Citizen Service Fund and the Christian County Services Tax Fund. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, wonder how weather forecasters know what the temperature is going to be like? We're going to introduce you to a woman who helps make that possible. Plus, a legendary reporter in Atlanta passes away. We'll have why his legacy is so important. And if you use zero-calorie sweeteners, you might want to think twice. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, have you ever wondered how weather forecasters always know the temperature in every community? Part of that is because of a network of volunteer weather trackers. One woman in Maine is still doing it after 60 years at 92. Jim Keithley spent the day with her.
She exemplifies the modern term work from home. She's been collecting weather information since 1965 as an official weather observer for NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. She took over the job after a friend passed away. She's among a nationwide network of about 7,500 volunteers who track the weather conditions for NOAA. She has a briefcase with all of her old records, including her very first official recording.
May 13th, 1965.
And what was the temperature?
The temperature, the high was 62, the low was 43, and when I read it, it was 59. This is the first book I ever had.
1965.
Yeah.
I was a year old.
Well, a lot of people weren't very old then.
It's an easy job, she says. She can just glance out her kitchen window to see how much snow is on the ground. There's a giant ruler in clear view.
6 inches right now. 6 inches of snow on the ground.
That's what we got.
That's what the stake says.
She can check the temperature from her kitchen, her home office. It's wired from the outside thermometer and runs through her cellar and up to the kitchen counter.
Temperature right now is 12.5.
Why do you like to do this?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think everybody's interested in the weather. Don't you?
When I asked her why she hasn't retired to Florida, I quickly discovered she's not a big fan of the heat.
No, thank you.
Why not?
I like it here.
With all this snow?
What's the matter with the snow?
She decided long ago to take her official readings at dinner time, 5 o'clock sharp. Just become a routine, just like setting a table, she said. She collects the rain and snow from these metal cylinders.
And then I measure it and put it in the book.
Here's a picture from 1984. She was in her 50s then. And even though she says it's harder to get around these days, she won't quit.
There are times when it's dark at night, at 5 o'clock, and the snow has piled up 8 inches deep. And I look at myself and I say, why are you in this? But you go put your boots on, put your jacket on, your mittens, and you find it's not bad at all.
And at the end of each month, Arlene will mail her findings to NOAA, as she's done for 57 years. When I asked her, why don't you email them? Here's what she said about that.
I don't have email.
Why not?
I don't like it. It's one more thing to get mixed. I always am fighting with that computer.
Arlene says she'll continue to do the job until she can't anymore.
Do you ever want to retire?
I told them that when I couldn't do a good job, I would retire.
And here you are at 92.
I don't know. I take a day at a time. At my age, it's foolish to pretend you'll be here next year.
Something tells me she's going to be around for a while. She still drives to the store and treks through her front yard for a job she still loves.
Absolutely incredible. Well, we'll be right back with today's Morning Talker right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Got a pretty decent start. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. We're looking good. Same for Mark camera at 7th and Range Line. A little bit chilly, 45 in Joplin. Feels like 41 with an east-northeast breeze at 8. Temperatures across the region, a little colder than Northwest. 39 Yates Center, 35 Iola, 43 Pittsburgh, 42 Miami, 44 Neosho, and 45 in Lamar. As we get our day started, we'll have plentiful sunshine out there, so that'll allow our temperatures to warm up quickly into the lower 60s by the latter half of the morning. We'll also have a few passing clouds here and there, and we're going to start to see the winds pick up with gusts about 20 to 25 miles an hour. We're looking at highs approaching 70. We're looking at the upper 60s for the most part across the area. And again, plentiful sunshine and some gusty winds out there. Heading into this evening, we are clear to partly cloudy. We'll start to cool back a little bit down to 53 by 10, overnight low of only 46, so not too bad. What we are watching is what's coming in down the road as we head into Thursday. So we'll have a few more clouds as we head into our Wednesday, and then by Thursday, we're looking at some late morning, afternoon showers and some thunderstorms. Some of those could be a little on the strong side, but we're not anticipating any significant severe weather like we saw yesterday morning. However, as we head into Friday morning, temperatures drop a bit and we start to see a transition to a wintry mix and maybe some snow. So right now, the models all seem to agree that, believe it or not, we'll see some accumulating snow Friday morning. What's not in agreement yet is exactly how much snow we'll see into Friday morning and how much everyone across the region will get. So that's something that we'll keep a close eye on. Once that system gets out of here, back behind it, we do warm up a bit. It's not as warm as we have been, but we'll start to see some warmer temperatures. And as we head into the upcoming weekend, we're actually going to get even warmer. So not bad. Not bad, a brief taste of winter. 60 tomorrow, those thunderstorms Thursday, 54, 38 Friday with that snow, 47 Saturday. We start to see a few more clouds, a little bit more wind, but as you can see, as we head into next week, temperatures return quickly to this spring-like weather as we head back into the lower 60s by Monday. Well, a legendary anchorman who graced TV screens in Atlanta for decades has died. Lorenzo Lo Jelks was a trailblazer in the broadcasting industry, and his death on Saturday has left a void for viewers and the colleagues who worked with him. Karen Greer looks back on Jelks' life and the impact he left behind.
I am so grateful for people who believed that I could do the job.
Lorenzo Lo Jelks made history when he joined WSB-TV in 1967, becoming the first black television reporter in Atlanta.
From the Fulton County Courthouse.
It was a tremendous responsibility.
Jelks grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida. He moved to Atlanta and graduated from Clark College, now called Clark Atlanta University, in 1961. Jelks began his career in radio and then was hired at WSB-TV by legendary news director Ray Moore.
And you were the first African-American reporter here, anywhere in town. Was it frightening at all for you?
It was. It was, Karen. No, there's no question about that.
For the first year on the job, Jelks was not seen on television. You only heard his voice. When he finally appeared on screen, there was backlash from some viewers, but station management stood behind Jelks.
The courage that required is hard to really imagine, but Lo did it. He learned the trade. He did very well, and it was an important statement that WSB made to put Lo out there.
Jelks was humble. He did not consider himself a trailblazer, but his courage paved the way for future African-American journalists.
Once you hired Lo Jelks, then other stations in the market said, you know what, he's good. It's time. You know, let's start hiring more qualified black people because that's our audience too.
Did you consider yourself the voice of the community?
I don't make those kinds of claims, to be perfectly honest with you. I just feel fortunate in having an opportunity to work at WSB.
Jelks was 83 years old. His family has not disclosed his cause of death. And that brings us to our question for you. Like Jelks, we all have a dream job, and we want to know what yours is. Is it a pilot, a writer, an actor or actress, a teacher or professor, doctor, lawyer, psychologist, or maybe something else? And we want to hear from you, so make sure you vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. And we will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, giving a child freedom over what they eat could teach them healthy eating habits. According to a report by the Wall Street Journal, letting a child choose what they want to eat could help them learn to self-regulate. It could also help prevent eating disorders. If a child chooses meals that are high fat or highly processed, dietitians believe they will eventually tire out and lean towards fruits and vegetables. That's according to the report. Well, a drastic change in the weather could take a toll on your health. Health experts say wild weather swings can cause infections, trigger allergies, or exacerbate other medical problems. This can be worse for people with existing medical conditions. The temperature changes can also take a toll on the heart. Doctors say heat can lead to stress in the body, and those stress hormones can put pressure on the heart. A new study shows stem cell therapy can reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke in severe health failure patients. The procedure involves using a catheter to inject adult stem cells from bone marrow with anti-inflammatory properties into an inflamed heart. Study shows one treatment can reduce the long-term risk of heart attack or stroke by 58% for patients with a weakened heart muscle. Well, researchers are sounding the alarm on a popular artificial sweetener. A study found erythritol can double the chance of a heart attack or stroke. That is for people in the top quarter of those with the sweetener in their blood. Now, the problem appears to be it causes blot to clot more blood, I think is what that's supposed to say. It causes blood to clot more easily, which can cause problems when those clots break off and travel to the heart. Researchers warn erythritol increases risk for heart attack and stroke as much as having diabetes does. You may have never heard of the sweetener because it's not typically used on its own. Instead, it's frequently used to add bulk to stevia, monk fruit, and other sweeteners popular for people eating a keto diet. Whether it's crunchy or smooth, peanut butter is delicious, but it can also be deadly. Jackie Ibanez takes a look at the groundbreaking research looking to provide relief and safety to those with peanut allergies.
Hope could be on the horizon for those suffering from severe peanut allergies. Scientists at Indiana University School of Medicine have created an injection designed to prevent peanut-related anaphylaxis, a potentially deadly allergic reaction that can cause difficulty breathing, shock, and more.
So anaphylaxis is caused by the interactions of an allergen with an antibody called IgE on the surface of immune cells. And when the allergen binds, those cells then release a lot of mediators into the body to cause the anaphylactic reaction. What we developed was an inhibitor that blocks the interaction of peanut allergens with the antibodies that are on the surface of the immune cells.
Peanut allergies are one of the most common food allergies, affecting roughly 1 in 50 kids in the U.S. So far, researchers have only tested their injection on animals, but the results are proving positive.
That inhibitor works for up to 2 weeks once it's injected into one of the test animals.
Officials hope to begin human trials in the next 5 to 10 years.
One of the next steps is to do more detailed toxicology analysis and make sure that it's safe to put into patients. If those look promising, we would then apply for FDA approval to do clinical trials so that we could test for safety and efficacy.
Long-term researchers also want to develop injections to prevent allergic reactions to things like penicillin. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we're watching ourselves a pretty decent day today across the area. However, some changes are on the way. We'll take a look at your full forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, PSU hosts a social mixer event in honor of Diversity Week.
We got a cool start for us today. Warmer weather on the way and then changes later this week. We'll take a look at your forecast coming up.
And Joplin School District wants to upgrade its security systems to make things more safe for students and staff.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:32. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's a little bit on the cool side out there this morning.
Cold.
That could be a lot colder, though, considering, again, it's still February, still technically winter. But it's not going to stay like winter for much longer today. Looking at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, we're looking pretty good so far. Same at 7th and Range Line. Again, temperature's a little on the chilly side, sitting at 45 in Joplin, feeling like 41. Then east-northeast breeze at 8 with clear skies out there. A little colder off to the north, 39 Fort Scott, 36 in Iola, 43 Pittsburgh, 42 Chetopa, Miami, 45 Neosho, and 46 in Carthage. With plentiful sunshine and a strong southerly breeze, we'll warm up very quickly through the morning, up to 61 by 11 a.m., and we'll start to see those wind gusts increase to 20 to 25 miles an hour. We're looking at highs this afternoon, pushing upper 60s to near 70. We'll hold on to some gusty winds with more than enough sunshine out there, making for an absolutely gorgeous day. So into this evening, we'll have a few more passing clouds, and we are slow to cool, but we'll get there, down to 53 by 10. But our overnight low tonight, looking at about 46 degrees, so not bad overall. As we look down the road, again, a few changes. Cooler tomorrow, 60. 54 on Thursday, maybe some thunderstorms out there, and some of those storms could be a little on the strong side, but we're not expecting at this point any widespread severe weather. However, those storms will translate into some snow by Friday morning. Could see some accumulating snow on Friday. It's still a little too early to pinpoint the accumulations, but it's looking likely that we'll see some snow. 38 for the high, though, and then anything we get Friday doesn't last long. As you see, we go into the weekend. We got some cool conditions initially, then we'll have some clouds, and temperatures start to warm back into the lower 60s as we kick off the next work week. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces funding to support sexual assault victims. More than $2 million in grant awards will go towards improving how the state supports victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, rape, and stalking. These grants are provided through the Federal Services Training Officers and Prosecutors Violence Against Women Act Formula Grant Program. The grant program supports efforts to respond to crimes against women by developing, training, or expanding units of law enforcement officers, prosecutors, judges, and court personnel specifically targeting crimes against women. Well, this is Diversity Week at Pitt State. The university is hosting several events to celebrate. On Monday, they hosted the America's Social Mixer. It was a chance for students to come together, enjoy some food and drinks, and celebrate the many cultures in the Western Hemisphere.
So we can have more celebrations, but also the very last event is the International Student Fair, and so it's all the international students put on an event. They all dance, play music, cook their traditional foods that they have in their country. So that was kind of our closer, was to tie in everything we've done and then what all the international students bring to Pitt State.
Other events this week include a Black History Month trivia night, a World Languages booth, and an international food and culture fair, like she talked about. The Joplin School Board wants to upgrade systems at the district school buildings to make it safer for students and staff. KOAM Shagun Bombadeli has more about their plan.
The Joplin School Board laid out more than $5 million capital spending proposal. That money will go towards a variety of projects ranging from new buses to lead testing and security upgrades.
We're looking to upgrade some of our video camera technology in the district, especially some of the older buildings, and so it's just basically, some cameras age out of their life cycle, so we replace cameras and like I said, replace some of the technology as well within some of the buildings.
School officials told me that the new camera systems will be able to see farther distance, wider angles, and also more clarity than the old cameras.
There's one camera that they call a 360, and it gets a wide swath of an area where the older cameras before would just focus on maybe a singular area, where this focuses on a large area, and then within that area you can dial that down to a smaller area and make that small area become very clear.
Parents are happy that the school district is investing into school security.
I think as long as the money is thoughtful and intentional, I think the money invested into security is going to be important, as long as the new camera systems and the tech part of our camera systems are going to be effective and intentional.
School board members will vote on the proposal at the next meeting. Reporting in Joplin, Shagun Bombadeli, KOAM News.
The board also previewed 3 messaging platforms intended to establish two-way messaging between school officials and parents.
I remember at the old high school when they did some security upgrades, they actually took us all into the cafeteria to demonstrate just how well those upgrades at that time were. So
They were trying to get you guys to behave.
They certainly were.
They said, we can watch you now. And this is how we're doing it.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, this morning we're discussing dream jobs.
Now, Lorenzo Lojelks made history when he joined WSB-TV in 1967, becoming the first black television reporter in Atlanta. Now, Jelks grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida. He moved to Atlanta and graduated from Clark College, now called Clark Atlanta University, in 1961. Now, Jelks began his career in radio and then was hired at WSB-TV by legendary news director Ray Moore.
For the first year on the job, Jelks was not seen on television. You only heard his voice. And when he finally appeared on screen, there was backlash from some viewers, but the station management stood behind Jelks.
Jelks was humble. He didn't consider himself a trailblazer, but his courage paved the way for future African-American journalists. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. What is your dream job? I don't know about you, but I'm doing exactly what I wanted to. I was 5 years old when I realized this is what I wanted to do. So you've got a number of choices. So far, 84% of you say something that's not on our list, and 16% of you say you wanted to be or want to be or maybe are going to be a writer. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
Can we put astronaut with the pilot section? When I was little, I wanted to be an astronaut.
I remember you telling me about that, and somehow I ended up here.
I wanted to do this too, though.
Hey, you got
I had a wide spectrum of things I wanted to do. You know, one thing though that I only wanted to do things that I'd heard of, obviously.
Right.
And I don't think I was exposed to very many things. The list was very minimal.
I got you. I got you.
Pretty much I could be a farmer, a teacher, or an astronaut, or on TV.
And here we are.
There we go. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a couple who's been married 27 years spends their anniversary in a unique way.
Plus, Puerto Rico's only zoo is being forced to close its doors. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, an earthquake shakes parts of southeast Turkey on Monday, killing at least one person and injuring dozens more. Turkish authorities say 29 buildings collapsed in Monday's 5.6 magnitude quake. Video shot by an animal welfare charity showed people working on a vehicle covered in rubble. The charity said on Facebook that the vehicle in the video was theirs, but the people inside that vehicle managed to get out before the building collapsed on top of it. This latest aftershock hit 3 weeks after the massive quake that killed more than 50,000 in Turkey and Syria. Turkey has arrested close to 200 people suspected of complicity in the collapse of the buildings, and investigators are expanding their search for more. Mourners attend the funerals of two Israeli brothers killed by Palestinian gunmen on the northern West Bank. Thousands attended the services for Hillel and Yagel Yaniv on Monday. The 21 and 19-year-old were shot and killed in a shooting ambush Sunday. The army has not caught the Palestinian gunmen. Following the shooting, settlers torched homes and cars in the worst violence in decades. Controversial influencer Andrew Tate will remain jailed in Romania. Romanian court upheld a third 30-day detention sentence for Tate on Monday. He's being held on suspicion of organized crime and human trafficking. Tate was originally sentenced by a judge on February 21st. He, along with his brother Tristan and two others involved, have yet to be formally charged. The 36-year-old British U.S. citizen has lived in Romania since 2017 and was previously banned from several social media platforms for expressing misogynistic views and hate speech. Puerto Rico's only zoo is closing. The move comes more than 5 years after Hurricane Maria devastated the island. Puerto Rico's Department of Natural and Environmental Resources says the 300 zoo animals that live in the zoo will be evaluated by veterinarians, and those that are cleared will be moved to sanctuaries. Officials say they will figure out a plan to care for the others, as several animals have died since the 2017 storm forced the zoo to close to begin with. The DNER says those deaths were from natural causes. 60% of the zoo's population is geriatric. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We've got a pretty good view at 20th and Rangeline from the MoDOT camera there. We're looking fairly good so far. Clear skies from the camera at 7th and Rangeline. 45 in Joplin, feeling like 41. That east-northeast breeze at 8. A chilly start yet again for us across the area. 39 in Fort Scott, 43 Chanute and Chatopa, 44 Miami, 45 Neosho, and 46 in Carthage as we get our day started. We'll have plentiful sunshine. We'll also have some gusty winds out there pushing 20 to 25 miles an hour, but it will allow us to warm up quickly. Look at this, lower 60s by 11 o'clock this morning. We've got highs pushing upper 60s near 70 degrees for most of us. We'll stay breezy and we'll stay sunny with maybe a few passing clouds out there. A few additional passing clouds this evening, down to 53 by 10 o'clock, ahead of a low of 46 degrees. And we are watching some changes on the horizon. We're going to be a little bit cooler as we head into our Wednesday. Not as warm as we are today, but still not bad, and a few more clouds out there. And then Thursday, late morning through the afternoon, showers, maybe some thunderstorms out there. A couple of those could be a little stronger, but we're not anticipating any widespread severe weather. And then that system, as temperatures drop, translates into a wintry mix and maybe even some snow as we head into Friday morning before it kicks out of here by Friday afternoon. So that's something we're keeping an eye on, because so far it's looking that we could get some accumulating snow Friday, but it's still a little too early to pinpoint exact totals and how much everyone will get, but something to keep an eye on. 60 tomorrow, 54 Thursday, 38 Friday, and anything we do get Friday won't last long, because take a look heading into the weekend and into Monday of next week. Temperatures warm up quickly and we see the winds return, but we're back into the lower 60s by next Monday. We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, sometimes love can be found in the strangest of places. And for one Wisconsin couple, it happened to be in the line at a Racine, Wisconsin McDonald's 27 years ago. When the establishment heard the couple's special love story, they knew they had to help them celebrate, providing a spread with roses and a special meal. Emerson Lehman was there for the occasion.
Even on a cold, rainy February day.
How are you?
Good, how are you? You can't wipe the smiles off the faces of lovebirds Cindy and Mark Franciscina.
You didn't forget?
No. After all, nothing says I love you like a burger and some fries.
I am just going to have a quarter-pounder meal, please.
27 years ago, Mark pulled into the parking lot at this McDonald's just off of Green Bay Road in Racine.
I was going to go through the drive-thru, but the line was too long. So I decided to park and walk inside.
Little did he know, the decision would change his life.
I was in line, and then I had turned and looked and saw her next to me in the line to my right.
The her Mark is referring to is now his wife, Cindy, who had the same craving for some fries and a Coke.
She said hi to me and she smiled, and when she smiled I was like, man, wow. She is
He's
beautiful.
way too kind.
No, I mean, I was like stricken, man. She was beautiful.
The two grabbed their respective orders and went on their way. Until.
And I stopped and looked back at her, and as she got to her car, she stopped and turned and looked back at me. And I was like, well, that's a done deal. I got to go after her now. I got to chase her down.
Chase her down he did, eventually exchanging phone numbers in the parking lot of a nearby car wash. Cindy even keeping the notepad.
This was like actual phones, like landlines.
Every year since, on February 9th, she's had a date at noon at the same restaurant with her McDonald's guy.
We never said anything to each other. We just always showed up. At noon at this McDonald's. Well, there were years I was like, oh, he better show up if he forgets. And
but we never have,
without
though.
fail, we've
We've always just both shown up and had lunch without even reminding each other anything.
The chance encounter has led to more than just an annual lunch date. Cindy and Mark married in 1999 and now have 3 kids and 2 grandchildren to share their story with, one they feel can inspire hope for others who may face hurdles in their love life, just as they have.
Coming from a broken marriage, and then, meeting him on February 9th of that year, we didn't come to McDonald's looking to meet our future husband or wife.
Right.
We weren't desperate.
While admittedly every day isn't filled with roses and sweet treats,
We have been through a lot in the last 27 years.
they've stayed by each other's side through thick and thin, offering support, love, and laughs.
I wouldn't trade any of it.
Right, same.
We're blessed. It's been wonderful.
Nearly 3 decades later, the couple looks back on their journey and can't help but smile.
It's so fun to just revisit and know that we continued this tradition.
A tradition of love with a side of fries.
Some people swipe right, but instead we just go to McDonald's.
They get to celebrate with a true Happy Meal every year. On their 27th anniversary, McDonald's had a fun surprise for the couple. Corporation had 27 roses sent to the location at Green Bay Road, and Stern Management, owners of the location, decorated a table for the couple with red tablecloth, sweet treats, and covered the couple's meal. That's sweet. We'll be right back. Washington, D.C.'s iconic cherry trees could be in line for another early bloom this year. Among thousands of Yoshino cherry trees along the tidal basin is the so-called indicator tree. The National Park Service says the tree has already begun to bud, revealing the first stage of the bloom cycle. And officials believe it's a sign that spring and cherry blossom season is again on the way early amid well above average temperatures for February. The earliest peak bloom on record is March 15th in 1990, a date that could be in play this year. Last year's peak bloom hit on March 25th. A normal peak bloom for the cherry trees falls around late March to early April. World War II veterans are a rare sight these days, and that's likely one of the reasons a community in Augusta County, Virginia felt it was so important to honor 98-year-old Emerson Pell. Pell served in the U.S. Navy as an aviation machinist mate 3rd class. Friends, family members, and even the volunteer fire department honored him with a parade at his home on Sunday. Pell said the most cherished things in his life have been his loving family and his 64-year marriage. He also said he remembers World War II like it was yesterday. In addition to getting a parade, Pell also got his driver's license renewed for 5 years.
We've got ourselves a pretty decent day lined up for some wind gusts 20 to 25 miles an hour, but plentiful sunshine, maybe a few passing clouds, warming into the lower 60s by 11. We're looking at highs in the upper 60s to near 70. We stay breezy, but we keep a lot of sunshine around, again, with just a few passing clouds. A few more clouds this evening, down to 53 by 10, ahead of a low of 46. We are a little cooler as we head into tomorrow, only 60 with more clouds. Storms Thursday, 54, maybe some snow Friday morning, 38, and then we start to warm up again as we head into next week. Check out Monday, already back into the lower 60s. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation and the Galena Police Department investigate a body in Galena.
We are chilly right now, but it is going to get a lot warmer. How much warmer will it be? We'll tell you coming up.
And them Duke boys weren't at it again, but a familiar-looking orange Dodge Charger crashed on a highway in southern Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 6 o'clock on Tuesday. So, hey, it's Tuesday, downhill run to Friday. But boy, I'm telling you, it was a long Monday for Sam Lane and I yesterday.
Oh yeah,
so,
for sure.
It still feels like Monday. It feels like it should be Wednesday, honestly. But we're going to get there, and we'll do it together. Take a look at the MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. We're looking pretty good so far, and we're looking good from 7th and Rangeline as well, albeit a bit on the chilly side. 45 in Joplin right now. Feels like 41 with that east breeze at about 8 miles an hour. And across the area, as mentioned, it's a cool start for us. 36 Iola, 44 in Parsons, 45 Chautauqua, Miami, 47 Neosho, and 45 in Carthage as we get our Tuesday underway. And as the sun rises, we will have plentiful sunshine, maybe a few passing clouds here and there. But check this out, 11 this morning. We're looking at getting into the lower 60s, but we're also going to be dealing with this little wind icon. We'll see some wind gusts of around 20 to 25 miles an hour. However, that will not impede our ability to warm today. If anything, it's going to help as we see highs kicking into the upper 60s, near 70 degrees across the region with plentiful sunshine and again a few passing clouds out there, but otherwise a pretty picturesque day. We head into this evening. We're slow to cool, but we will eventually get there. I mean, check out the 6 o'clock temperature, which by the way, has anybody else noticed this? Sunset getting later and later. I noticed this last night when I was exhausted. Like, it is still daylight out at 6 o'clock. We're looking good. We're down to 53 by 10 with an overnight low of 46. Let me hit the right button. Here we go. Let's take a look down the road, though. We're up to 60 tomorrow, so a little bit cooler. 54 Thursday. We are watching some thunderstorm chances Thursday. Could be a strong storm or two, but right now we're not anticipating any widespread severe weather. What we are watching closely, though, is Friday. We're looking at snow Friday morning. That snow could actually accumulate. Now, it's still a little too early to tell exactly how much and where, but something to keep an eye on over the next couple of days. 38. Any snow we get, though, is going to be gone pretty quickly as we make it back into the lower 60s to kick off the next work week. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation and Galena Police are currently investigating a body found in Galena. According to Galena Police Chief Billy Charles, officers were called about 3 p.m. for a body found in a field near 11th and Wood Streets. That's near the tire monofill. Our KOAM crew at the scene was told the KBI was now in charge of the investigation. And this is a developing story. We will update you as we learn more. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces funding to support sexual assault victims. More than $2 million in grant awards will go towards improving how the state supports victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, rape, and stalking. These grants are provided through the Federal Services Training Officers and Prosecutors Violence Against Women Act Formula Grant Program. The grant program supports efforts to respond to crimes against women by developing, training, or expanding units of law enforcement, officers, prosecutors, judges, and court personnel specifically targeting crimes against women. Missouri Department of Transportation announces lane closure on Missouri Route 59 or Cliffside Drive in McDonald County. It's between Missouri Route 90 and Main Street in Knoll, and there will be traffic delays on Route 50 starting at 7 a.m. next Monday and will continue for several weeks. The goal is to stabilize the stream bank and make sidewalk improvements along Elk River. MoDOT also announced the temporary closure of Route DD or Waldo Road to I-49 south at exit 91. Now, this is south of Nevada. The on-ramp will close from noon to 2 p.m. today to allow contractors to repair the guardrail. There'll be no signed detour, and drivers are urged to find alternate routes. You can go online to KOAMnewsnow.com for a look at road closings and traffic impacts. Well, familiar-looking orange Dodge Charger crashed on a highway in southern Missouri Sunday. The General Lee was among hundreds made for the hit TV show The Dukes of Hazzard. Both people in the car were evaluated and taken to the hospital. There's no word on their conditions or what caused the one-vehicle accident. The local fire department says more than 300 General Lees were built for the TV show, which ran from 1979 to 1985, and only 17 reportedly survived, and now apparently 16. Well, the extreme weather that blew through the west and central U.S. is now slamming the East Coast. Snowfall is reaching parts of the country that haven't really seen any all year. Jared Hill has the latest.
Parts of the Northeast are seeing their biggest snowfall of what's been a pretty dry winter season so far. Near Minneapolis, rain instead of their typical snow led to a slushy, slippery mess on the road.
Seen 1 or 2 cars in the ditch, unfortunately.
It's part of the same system that brought blizzard conditions to California.
It's been a mess.
Closed roads meant for open skiing for at least one stranded driver in the Sierra Nevada mountains.
I'm on my way up to Reno and where I'm home and got stuck, so I thought I'd get a little workout while I wait.
In the waterlogged hills of Southern California, officials are warning about the threat of dangerous mudslides. Meanwhile, in the Southern Plains, tornado cleanup is just getting started after more than half a dozen twisters tore through the region.
And the whole house is caved in. At that time, I'm trying to get my sister to safety.
University of Oklahoma football player Corey Roberson is among those picking up the pieces. With the help of his teammates, his family is cleaning up and salvaging what they can after their home in Norman was severely damaged. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Another storm starting in California will make its way to the southern Rockies on Thursday. It's then expected to spread to the Central Plains before heading east again. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the battle over whether the president can relieve student loan debt with a pen stroke is finally making its way to the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll have the latest details. Plus, new research from the American Academy of Neurology says it just takes 7 simple rules to lower the risk of dementia. We'll tell you what the 7 are. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning in one of the biggest cases of its current term. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court will consider whether President Biden has the authority to wipe away billions of dollars in student loan debt for millions of Americans. Jared Hill has a preview.
Today, the Supreme Court will hear arguments on 2 challenges to the Biden administration's federal student debt relief plan.
An entire generation is now saddled with unsustainable debt.
President Biden announced the program back in August, making good on a campaign promise. It offers $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients and $10,000 for other federal student loan borrowers who make less than $125,000 a year. According to the White House, more than 26 million Americans submitted applications. 16 million of them were approved before lower courts paused the program. The Congressional Budget Office says the plan, which has been widely criticized by Republicans, would cost almost $500 billion.
I think the legal justification for it is highly questionable.
This morning, the 9 justices will hear a challenge from 6 Republican states who say the president's plan is a, quote, breathtaking and transformative exercise of power, and another from 2 borrowers, one who doesn't qualify for the program, and the other who's only eligible for partial relief.
The justices will be considering whether both the states and the individuals even have the legal authority to sue to challenge the plans, as well as whether the Biden administration has its legal authority to forgive student loans.
We're confident in our legal authority. We're going to see what the Supreme Court decides.
A decision is expected by early summer. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
The Biden administration also enacted a federal student loan payment moratorium during the COVID-19 pandemic. The president has said that will end either 60 days following the Supreme Court's decision or 60 days after June 30th, whichever comes first. That's a look at one of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a chilly start out there, but clear skies looking great from the MoDOT camera 20th and Range line. We do have some big changes coming in the second half of this week, and we're going to talk about all of that and even have a little weather trivia for you when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Time for a little weather trivia. First, just look at this beautiful picture here. I love it. In the Northern Hemisphere, which way does air move or flow near areas of high pressure? Is it clockwise, north to south, counterclockwise, or directly towards low pressure? Well, what do you think about that? Let's take a look at our forecast. 7th and Range line, we're looking pretty good. Got mostly clear skies out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Range line, we're looking pretty good so far as well. Let's take a look at those temperatures. It's a little bit chilly this morning, but could be worse. It's 45, feeling like 41 in Joplin with that east breeze at about 8 miles an hour. And again, it's chilly across the region. 36 Iola, 44 in Parsons, 45 Chautauqua, Miami, 47 in Neosho, 44 Monette, and 42 in Lamar. Now, as we get our day started, a couple of things. One, we're going to have plentiful sunshine. We'll have a few passing clouds here and there, but otherwise not bad. We're going to see wind gusts in that 20 to 25 mile an hour range, so a bit breezy, but look at that. 11 this morning, already up to 61 degrees, and we're looking at highs pushing upper 60s to near 70. It is February. And we're looking at highs near 70. Will be breezy, will be sunny, and again, a few passing clouds are possible as we go through the day. And as we head into this evening, we'll start to see a few more clouds later in the evening as we head into the overnight hours. And look at these temperatures too. We're slow to cool. We're still 53 by 10 o'clock. We will eventually make it down to 46 for our low. Now, as mentioned, we're tracking some big changes as we head into the middle of the week. Now, as we head into Wednesday, we're going to be a little cooler. We're going to have a few more clouds out there, but otherwise still not a bad day. It's what we're watching Thursday into Friday. So by Thursday morning, more clouds building into the area. And by Thursday afternoon and evening, we're looking at some showers and thunderstorms. Could see a strong storm or two, but at this point, the overall severe risk is pretty low. We're not anticipating anything like what we saw Monday morning. But look off to the northwest. Temperatures cool. We have some snow out by Goodland. That is going to start to happen here. So we head into Friday morning, we're looking at a wintry mix and maybe even some snow across the region as we get into the first part of Friday morning. So here we are about 8:30. You can see some snow and some wintry mix stuff on that forecast. Then it turns back into rain as temperatures warm up above freezing later in the day, and then that system goes ahead and clears on out of here. Now, right now, it's still too early to really pinpoint accumulations for Friday, but we are looking at the possibility of accumulating snow. Now, as I've told you, one of the models that we look at, this is what we mean by it's still a little too early. Yesterday morning, it had the region in 12 to 14 inches. Yesterday afternoon, it had it down to 2 to 4. This morning, it's got it 7 to 10. So as we get closer, we'll get a better handle on exactly what's going to happen Friday. So don't panic yet, but just be prepared for some wintry weather as we head into Friday. However, whatever we get Friday isn't going to last long. We'll talk why in just a second. But first, to our question. So which way does the air move and flow around near areas of high pressure? Well, if you happen to guess clockwise, you would be correct. High pressure systems also typically bring clear skies and calm weather to the area that they're over. So here's what we've got for us today. Again, 70. 60 tomorrow, thunderstorms Thursday, 54, 38 Friday with that snow we're keeping an eye on. And this is what I mean by it won't last long. Look at the temperatures heading into the weekend. Yeah, I know 47's cool, but that's well above freezing. We get into Sunday, 56, 63 by Monday. And as we look down the road, we do have additional rain chances near 70 again by next Tuesday. We start to cool off toward the end of next week with some additional showers. But the other side of these additional showers is we've had the rain positioned strategically, it seems, over the last month or so. And we are above average for rainfall so far, and we need anything we can get to help with that drought situation that we were left with from last year. We'll have more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, making healthy lifestyle choices in middle age may lead to a decreased risk of dementia later in life. New research by the American Academy of Neurology followed more than 13,000 female participants for 2 decades and found that 7 healthy habits and lifestyle factors may play a role in lowering the risk of dementia. The 7 cardiovascular and brain health factors, known as the American Heart Association's Life Simple 7, are being active, eating better, maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking, maintaining a healthy blood pressure, controlling cholesterol, and having low blood sugar. The prevalence of childhood obesity is rising worldwide, and now new research in a European diabetes journal is the first to study to show that children who are obese have an increased risk of developing 4 of 5 subtypes of adult onset diabetes. Artificial sweeteners could be doing you a lot more harm than good. A new Cleveland clinic finding showed that erythritol, popular artificial sweetener, is associated with an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Artificial sweeteners are widely used as no or low calorie alternatives to sugar. Well, February is American Heart Month, and Dr. Malika Marshall brings us the inspirational story of a competitive cyclist who has a second chance at life with a new heart.
Kim Dolan was living a full life as a wife, mom, pastry chef instructor, and self-described exercise fanatic.
In order to be able to taste and eat my sweets and my students' sweets, I exercised like a fiend.
An avid cyclist, Kim had competed in 15 triathlons and an Ironman competition. But in 2016, she went for a swim and was so winded, she barely finished 1 lap. Then, while hosting a dinner party,
I had to stop during the meal and go lay down, and that's unheard of.
Kim went to the ER and was in severe heart failure.
Inside of the muscle wall is all these trabeculations and spongy looking muscle that over time that predisposes the heart to becoming weak and dilated and causes heart failures.
Kim was diagnosed with a genetic condition called non-compaction cardiomyopathy.
My children and my husband were she did an Ironman. What are you talking about?
Patients may not have symptoms for years, but eventually the condition worsens. She was treated with medications and used an artificial device to keep her heart pumping. Eventually, Kim needed a heart transplant, and she received her new heart here in Boston at Tufts Medical Center.
Our goal when we do a transplant is to get people to get back to some sort of normalcy, get back to their lives, doing what they love. And, Kim is really doing that now.
It's been 5 years since Kim's transplant. Last summer, she took part in a competition for organ recipients and living donors. At 62, she won gold in the 5K and 20K bike races. How did it feel?
I think what it was is I'm back. I can do this again. I've done it.
Back doing what she loves and living her best life. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Boston.
To see her back. The condition Kim has is considered rare, but doctors say it may be more common than we think since people may not have signs or symptoms for years. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, we're watching a pretty decent day shaping up across the area. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. We got those clear skies out there. Same view from 7th and Range Line. Again, a few passing clouds, otherwise not bad. 45, feels like 41 in Joplin with an east breeze blowing at about 8 miles an hour. Across the area, again, a little bit cold. 36 in Iola, 42 Chinook, 43 Neodesha, 44 Miami, and 45 in Neosho as we get our day started. We'll see winds start to gust 20 to 25 miles an hour later today. However, we'll have a lot of sunshine, some passing clouds, and check this out, up into the lower 60s by 11 this morning. We're looking at highs pushing the upper 60s to near 70. We'll stay breezy through the day, still some passing clouds, but otherwise not a bad day across the area. As we head into this evening, mostly clear skies to start, and then we'll start to see some increasing clouds down to 53 by 10, ahead of an overnight low of 46 degrees. Looking ahead, we're cooler tomorrow, 60. Watching thunderstorm chances on Thursday, 54. Maybe some snow Friday morning, 38. And any snow we get Friday won't last long as we start to warm up through the weekend. 47 Saturday, plenty of sun on Sunday, 56. And then we make it to Monday, and look at that, back into the lower 60s. That's a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6:30, area fire crews respond to reports of a house trailer fire in Carthage.
Take a look at this sunrise from 7th and Range Line, a sign of the beautiful day to come. We'll talk how warm it's going to get and some changes coming up this week here in just a minute.
And security-minded, the Joplin School Board moves to fortify the district school buildings with some security upgrades.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:28. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it is a bit on the chilly side out there this morning, but we are looking to have an absolutely picture-perfect spring day today. And that's kind of hard to believe because we're still in February. Now, the meteorological start of spring is March 1st. Of course, the actual start of spring still a little ways away, but boy, we have really been treated to some great weather. I wanted to start with the tower cam at 7th and Range Line, just give everyone a moment to take in this beautiful sunrise out there. I mean, the coloring is perfect, a few stray clouds. I mean, it's like something straight out of a painting. From the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, looking off to the northwest, we still see those clear skies out there with a handful of clouds passing by. So I just cannot get over how beautiful this is. We've been treated to some really lovely sunrises on this camera, and they are just gorgeous sometimes. We're 45 in Joplin, 41 is what it feels like with an east breeze at 8. Beautiful sunrise for all of us this morning, but a bit chilly. 36 Iola, 38 Fort Scott, 43 Pittsburgh, 44 Miami, 45 Neosho, and 39 in Nevada. Now, we're all going to start to warm up, and we're all going to start to experience some southerly winds gusting 20 to 25 miles an hour across the area. We'll have plentiful sunshine, a few passing clouds like we saw on the tower cam shot. But check out these temperatures. We start to warm up pretty quickly into the lower 60s by 11 this morning. As we head into the afternoon, making it up to 65 by noon, we're looking at highs in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees across the area. This evening, a pretty mild evening for us. Clouds will increase just a bit as we head later into the evening, 53 by 10, ahead of a low of 46 tonight. Now, we are going to be cooler tomorrow, 60 with more clouds. Watching thunderstorm chances Thursday, 54. Watching some snow Friday morning, 38. But don't worry, anything we get Friday doesn't last long. As we've been mentioning, we warm back up through the weekend. We're into the lower 60s by next Monday. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A Galena man learns his fate in a Cherokee County District Court. James Bilkey Jr. of Galena received more than a year imprisonment earlier this month. Now, the 15-month sentence came after Bilkey pled guilty to attempted aggravated battery, which stems from a January 2020 altercation. Bilkey is being held in the Cherokee County Jail pending transfer to the Kansas Department of Corrections. Firefighters respond to a trailer house fire in Jasper County. Crews responded to reports of a trailer house fire just before 8:30 Monday night at West Mound Street near Carthage. Carthage Fire Department, Jasper County Sheriff's deputies, and Mercy Ambulance responded. Tri-Cities Fire and the Oronogo Fire provided backup. When they arrived, first responders observed a trailer house completely destroyed by fire. There were no occupants. Carthage Fire says while they're investigating the cause of the fire, there is not much to search as the structure was consumed. The Joplin School Board wants to upgrade security systems at the district's school buildings. The board laid out a more than $5 million capital spending proposal. That money would go towards a variety of projects ranging from new buses to lead testing and security upgrades.
We're looking to upgrade some of our video camera technology in the district, especially some of the older buildings. And so it's just basically, some cameras age out of their life cycle, so we replace cameras and like I said, replace some of the technology as well within some of the buildings.
The board also previewed 3 messaging platforms intended to establish two-way messaging between school officials and parents. One Springfield veterans group says it will not be able to help the community as much as usual. The reason, it got what it's calling a surprise utility bill. The American Legion Post must now fork over $6,000 for a dead or a faulty natural gas meter. In December, around 500 utility customers in Springfield got a heads up they were about to get these bills. Customers still got the energy, but meters did not read correctly. The Post has been paying its bills, but did not think anything of its low gas use, and then learned the meter stopped reading correctly almost 2 years ago.
April of 2020 is when we were shut down for COVID. April 6th, that was the city stay-at-home order. We literally was shut down. I did notice a drop in our utilities from March to April of 2020. I went back and verified that. But we were closed, so I didn't think anything of it. And we were closed for a really long time.
According to the utilities policy for residential accounts, it can only bill up to 12 months for a dead meter. For commercial accounts, like this American Legion Post, it's up to 5 years. Well, this is Diversity Week at Pitt State. The university is hosting several events to celebrate. On Monday, they hosted the America's Social Mixer. It was a chance for students to come together, enjoy some food and drinks, and celebrate the many cultures in the Western Hemisphere.
So we can have more celebrations, but also the very last event is the International Student Fair, and so it's all the international students put on an event. They all dance, play music, cook their traditional foods that they have in their country. So that was kind of our closer, was to tie in everything we've done and then what all the international students bring to Pitt State.
Other events this week include a Black History Month trivia night, a World Languages booth, and an international food and culture fair, like she talked about. Well, this morning we're discussing dream jobs.
Yeah, Lorenzo Lojelks made history when he joined WSB TV in 1967, becoming the first black television reporter in Atlanta. Jelks grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida. He moved to Atlanta and graduated from Clark College, now called Clark Atlanta University, back in 1961. Jelks began his career in radio and then was hired at WSB TV by legendary news director Ray Moore.
For the first year on the job, Jelks was not seen on television. You only heard his voice. And when he finally appeared on screen, there was backlash from some viewers. But station management stood behind Jelks.
And Jelks was humble. He didn't consider himself a trailblazer, but his courage paved the way for future African-American journalists. So he followed his dreams, and that brings us to our question of what dream job do you have? 64% of you say it's something not on our list. 12% of you say a teacher, a professor, a writer, or even a doctor. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in discussion on our Facebook page.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. If up, up, and away sounds less like flying and more like the rising cost of flying, we've got some tips from the experts that'll get you back in the air again without costing you an arm and leg.
That's good news. And we are watching an absolutely gorgeous day in store for us today. Ahead of some big changes by midweek, we'll break it all down when the KOAM Morning News returns.
And Consumer Watch this morning, TD Bank has agreed to settle a lawsuit related to an alleged Ponzi scheme. Toronto Dominion Bank announced Monday it will pay $1.2 billion to settle an investor's lawsuit. And while the bank says it is settling the claim, it denies any wrongdoing. Investors say the bank helped disgraced financer Alan Standard pull off a $7 billion Ponzi scheme uncovered more than a decade ago. Now, Stanford is serving a 110-year prison sentence after a jury convicted him of fraud in 2012. Well, the crackdown on TikTok continues. The White House today gave government agencies 30 days to remove the video sharing app from all federal devices and computer systems. The Office of Management and Budget says the move is aimed at protecting U.S. data. Officials suspect China is using the app to spy on Americans. The ban does not impact more than 100 million Americans who use TikTok on non-government devices. Well, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill Monday that strips Walt Disney World of its long-held right to self-govern and maintain the land surrounding its theme park properties. It's seen as punishment after the company criticized the Republican governor's so-called "Don't Say Gay" law. Disney is one of Florida's largest employers. Well, if you've tried to book a flight lately, you've probably noticed prices are rising dramatically in some cases, but there are tricks of the trade to get lower fares. Wendy Gillette has some money-saving flying tips.
Airline ticket prices are flying up these days, just as many Americans are booking for spring break and summer travel.
It's really prices like too high, you know.
The mobile app Hopper released data showing flights to Europe this spring are 16% higher compared to pre-pandemic 2019. Airfares to Mexico and Central America are up 30%. Right now, domestic flights average around $270 round trip and are expected to reach $350 by May.
We're seeing huge demand for both domestic and international trips. That's driving up prices, and costs are already high. Inflation is impacting hotels and airlines just as much as it's impacting consumers.
So how to steer clear of some of that sticker shock? Expedia put together a report on air hacks.
You should always look at booking on a Sunday. That's when the fares tend to be the lowest. If you're booking a domestic airfare, look 30 days out, international up to 6 months out to get those good fares.
As for what days to fly, think midweek and avoid leaving on weekends when demand is highest.
This spring, we're seeing those priciest days to fly are on Saturdays, March 25th, and then the following Saturday, April 1st. So if you can avoid those days, it's probably a good idea.
Both Expedia and Hopper offer free monitoring services to help track prices.
Airfares can change hundreds of times in a single day.
Also consider bundling when you book, purchasing a hotel stay and rental car at the same time you pull the trigger on flights. Expedia says that can save an average of $300, giving you more money to spend once you land. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Los Angeles.
That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, quick look outside at 7th and Rangeline. Absolutely beautiful sunrise out there. Got a few clouds in the sky. Looking at the MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline, looking gorgeous there as well. A few more cars starting to pile up on the road. Here we've got the temperatures. We're 45 in Joplin, feeling like 41 with an east breeze at about 8 miles an hour. And it is a chilly start across the region for us. We got 36 Iola, 44 Parsons, Miami, 45 Neosho, 46 Carthage, 43 in Lamar. As we get our day started, we'll start to see winds increase. So have some gusts 20 to 25 miles an hour, but that only helps to usher in this. Lower 60s by 11 o'clock this morning. Still some gusty winds, a few passing clouds, but otherwise not bad at all. We're going to talk about today's forecast and some changes coming up this week here in just a few minutes. And we're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But before we do that, we're going to find out what's coming up on CBS Mornings. And one thing is Adriana Diaz is going to meet two friends who are set on creating dialogue between Detroit's Jewish and Black communities.
Things are much more rich. Things are much more interesting when we bring these two communities together, when we meld them. And so I think it became really apparent that there's some more opportunity here. There's some more things that we can do and some more impact that we can have.
How their own friendship sparked an idea that's now breaking down barriers between the groups. That's what's coming up next on CBS Mornings. Time for some Tuesday birthdays, and we begin in Columbus with Jace Timothy Evans celebrating birthday number 4.
And we got Josiah Overman in West Mineral turning 9 years old this year. Happy birthday to Josiah.
And Remington Wyrick celebrating birthday number 14 in Fairland. Happy birthday, Remington.
Jeremiah Kephart is 15 this year in Thayer, Kansas, with love from Dad, Mom, the J-Boys, and Sister.
And we've also got Amanda Emerson celebrating birthday number 19 in Fort Scott. Happy birthday, Amanda.
And a Wyandotte, Aaron Arment turns 25 years old this year. Aaron is getting happy birthday wishes from the wife and kids.
And Matt Williams celebrating number 38 in Sarcoxy. Happy birthday, Matt.
And a happy birthday going out to Kaylee Hobbs.
And we've also got Randy Stitz celebrating in Iola. So Randy is actually a leap year baby, so his birthday's actually February 29th, but we don't have a leap year this year, so we got to celebrate a little bit early. Happy birthday, Randy.
I wish we had his age so we could figure his leap year age, too.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And Ronnie Kellogg, happy birthday from your wife.
We've also got Carla Howerton celebrating number 55 in Carthage. Happy birthday, Carla.
Larry Harris turned 67 years old this year in Jasper, Missouri.
Paul Yeager celebrating another year wiser in Columbus. Happy birthday, Paul.
And Jerry Maddox turning 86 years old in Columbus.
And last but not least, Judy Reynolds celebrating birthday number 62 in Girard. Happy birthday, Judy. Happy birthday to all of you. And of course, to continue to celebrate with us, there's one thing that you need to know. Tanya, what is that?
That's right. All you have to do is send us your birthdays, and you can send them to us through our email, or you can go online too. There's the address online. Our email is KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website submitting those birthdays, take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You get some great deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for that birthday club today. All right, let's take a look. Keep showing you this beautiful sunrise. The colors earlier this morning, about 20 minutes ago, were just absolutely beautiful. Still looks great. A few passing clouds out there across the area. And at MoDOT, the MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline, we've got an absolutely beautiful sky. It's a little bright out there, but nice weather, and it is only going to get nicer. Now, we are a little bit chilly as we start. We're sitting at 45 in Joplin. 41 is what it feels like with that east breeze blowing at about 8 miles an hour. Across the region, still a little bit on the chilly side. 36 Iola, 42 Chanute, 44 Parsons, 45 in Chatopa, 44 in Miami, 45 Neosho Monette, 46 Carthage, 43 Lamar, and 39 in Nevada. So, couple things today. One, we're going to have a lot of sunshine out there. We'll still have some passing clouds like we just saw in the shot from 7th and Rangeline, but otherwise a lot of sun. We're also going to see the winds start to pick up a little bit. We'll see those gusts from around 20 to 25 miles an hour. So not too bad, but still a bit breezy. And then check out what these temperatures do through the morning. We are quick to warm, and we're into the lower 60s by 11 this morning, and it's not done yet. We're going to look at highs in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. It'll be 65 at noon, 68 at 2, and down to 67 by 4, with, again, plentiful sunshine and just a handful of passing clouds across the area. As we head into this evening, we'll start with those mostly clear skies, and we'll see clouds start to increase late this evening. We're at 62 by 6, 55 by 8, and only down to 53 by 10, so a pretty pleasant evening. And our overnight low a little bit better as well, as we're looking to drop back down to 46. However, we have some changes coming down the road, and they're going to be kind of interesting over the next couple of days. We're going to start to see clouds really increase as we head into tomorrow, and we're also, unfortunately, not going to be nearly as warm. We'll still be pretty decent, but not nearly as warm as we are today. So we head into Wednesday evening. You can see, again, not nearly as warm as today, but still not bad. We get a little cooler Wednesday night. Then we head into Thursday. We got more clouds. Look off to our south. Down south, they're looking at a pretty decent chance of some nasty, severe weather across Arkansas. That state. We know what that state is. Looking at a pretty good shot of some nasty severe weather across Arkansas. We're right on the edge of where we could see maybe a strong storm or two Thursday. Right now, we're not looking at anything like what we saw Monday, not looking at really anything in the way of severe weather, but a strong storm or two will be possible as we head into Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. So we'll be watching those thunderstorm chances. One way or another, we're going to get some additional rain. And then, look off to our northwest, out by Goodland, Dodge City. See, it's a lot colder. See that snow out there? Well, our temperatures are going to start to fall as we go through Thursday and into Friday. As they do so, we're looking at a chance of a wintry mix and perhaps some snow as we head into early Friday morning, say between 6 and 9. So here we are at 8:30. snow across the region, wintry mix across the region. We also have rain for some of us as well because temperatures are going to be kind of bouncing around. On Friday, we're looking at the possibility of accumulating snowfall Friday morning. I know that sounds kind of crazy given the weather we're having now, but it is a possibility. But we're also still a ways out, and it's still a little too early to pinpoint the accumulations and exactly who will see how much. I mentioned this earlier, but one of the computer models that we look at for this, yesterday morning had snow totals. I think it was 12 to 14 inches. By yesterday afternoon, it was down to 2 to 4 inches. This morning, it was back up 7 to 10 inches. So don't panic yet. Don't freak out about Friday, but do keep an eye on it because I think one way or another, we're going to get some snowfall. It's just going to be a matter of exactly how much. However, any snowfall that we get on Friday is going to be relatively short-lived because even after this kicks out of here and we start to clear out, we're not terribly warm, but we do start to warm above freezing for the latter half of our Friday. And then as we head into the weekend, we're going to continue to warm, and we'll even warm even more as we head into next week. So let's take a look down the road. Only 60 tomorrow, so again, a little bit cooler, down to 41. 54 Thursday, down to 32. Make it up to about 38 Friday, back down to 30. Then we get into Saturday. I know 47 is pretty chilly, but it's well above freezing. So again, anything we see Friday is going to start to have an opportunity to melt. Now, we still drop back down pretty cold Saturday night. A little more sunshine on Sunday, back up to 56. 38 for the lows, so a lot of good melting will take place, depending again on how much we get Friday. A lot of that could melt off even on Saturday. Up to 63 Monday, some breezy conditions, down to 51 for the low. Then, as we get into the rest of next week, we're watching increasing shower chances. We make it up to near 70 by next Tuesday. And then we start to cool back down again, down to 53 next Wednesday, and down to 40 by next Thursday. So it's the one thing, though, is over the last few weeks, we've had rain strategically placed across the area, which is helping with our drought situation. We still have a good portion of especially southeast Kansas in that extreme to severe drought range, and this is slowly starting to help. We're actually starting the year above normal for precipitation, so hopefully it'll stay that way. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. From New Jersey to Maine, much of the Northeast is under a winter storm warning as more than a half-foot of snow may be coming over the next day. In the Midwest, residents across several states are cleaning up after tornadoes down trees and power lines and rip roofs off homes and damaged businesses. Meanwhile, in California's Sierra Nevada mountains, up to 6 more feet of snow is expected following last week's powerful storms. Well, a new House Select Committee focusing on China holds its first public hearing tonight. The panel's top Republican and Democrat told CBS's Face the Nation they hope to work in a bipartisan way as they try to highlight the threats the Chinese Communist Party posed to the U.S. Chinese spy balloon and China's support for Russia's invasion of Ukraine are expected to be early focuses. And the defense rested its case yesterday in the double murder trial of Alex Murdaugh. Today, the prosecution will call a handful of rebuttal witnesses. Afterwards, the jury will visit Murdaugh's home, where his wife and son were killed, part of a request by the defense team. Closing arguments are expected to begin later this week. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And we've got ourselves a really nice day shaping up. We'll have some wind gusts 20, 25 miles an hour. Highs pushing upper 60s to near 70. Plentiful sunshine, a few passing clouds. We'll have a few more clouds as we head into this evening. We're slow to cool, though. Look at these early evening temperatures. Not bad at all, ahead of a low of 46. And as we look at the week ahead, we got some changes coming. 60 tomorrow, thunderstorms Thursday, 54. Maybe some snow Friday morning, 38. But anything we get Friday doesn't last long as we start to warm through the weekend and we're back into the lower 60s by next Monday.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making a Boston cream pie poke cake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
All right. And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. 4-time Oscar nominee William Dafoe talks about his new movie, Inside. That's what's ahead on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, our favorite Tuesday chef, Charlene Patton from the Kansas Soybean Commission, is in studio with a recipe for a marble loaf. You don't want to miss this one.
Plus, Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society has a 4-legged furry buddy looking for a forever home. And She's got information on an Easter egg event that you can take part in.
That's right.
That's going to wrap it up for us now. For now, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll do it again today at noon.